morning to you if you've just joined us. It is, of course, Expresso, your feel-good breakfast show on S3. And right now we're going to get into a really interesting retelling of a story. Now, Afrikaans radio station RSG are hosting an audio documentary series of 13 episodes each that you've heard of up to this point. The aim of these documentaries is to create social awareness regarding current topics and also milestones, forgotten communities and people, as well as important literary figures. Now, these documentaries do air on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on RSG. And today we're going to delve into one in particular, documentary maker Hein Wyngaard, who really does revisit the story of Zephany Nurse, a 3-day-old baby who was abducted from Grooteskieu's maternity ward way back in 1997 from her 18-year-old mom, Celeste Nurse, who was asleep at the time. And it is a story that if you're from the Mother City or even beyond, you definitely have been wondering a little bit more about it. Hein, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Chris, and congratulations on your
Thank
3
you
months.
so much. 3 months. Next week it's going to be 4 months. And I'm so excited that within this period I get to talk to you. I think this is the year, or maybe it was last year, that the retelling of the story kind of reached the surface once again in many South Africans' minds. But I wonder what really drew you to the story to retell it.
So the current landmark is the fact that the kidnapper mom of Zephany, Lavona Solomon, she's been released on parole a year ago.
Okay,
so that gave us reason to revisit the story. And in the documentary, I'm really going back to 1997.
Sure.
I was only 23 years old, yes, once upon a time.
A young boy.
And I must admit that I couldn't remember the story until 2015, when the whole world obviously got to know about Zephany Nurse. In 1997, I was, in April 1997, when she was stolen, I was a new member of the Media 24 parliamentary team. So it was all politics. I can tell you what happened in politics during that year, but I couldn't remember the Zephany Nurse story until 2015, when we were told the younger sister reconnected with her at the same school that they attended. And now, well, what happened then subsequently is that the so-called kidnapper mom was found guilty of kidnapping and contravening the Child Protection Act and went to prison for 7 out of the 10 years that she was convicted. Well, she was convicted and then sentenced. And it remains a sad story, and it also seems that the bond has not completely been restored between the biological parents and Mishay, which is the name that she's using. In fact, she's combining the two now. She's calling herself Mishay Zephany. And Sheldon is her new surname, which is a married surname.
Wow, what a story. Because, you know, names carry identity, they carry history. And so I get it, to rename yourself, to step into, but also not forget the old. It is incredible. And, you know, some empathy needs to be extended, I think, across all parties, perhaps. But were you able to actually sit down and talk to Zephany and the parties involved?
So I also wrote a book about 6 months after, or it was published 6 months after the story broke. But that really just captured the background, like going back to 1997, and also the start of the court proceedings. I've not been able to speak to the biological parents for the book, and also, unfortunately, not for the radio documentary. There are different reasons where I don't think we should discuss here. But I was able to, for the radio documentary, speak to Mishay. And I focused mainly on what her current relationship is with her biological parents and also with her kidnapper mom.
Incredible. And audio documentary is something different. I mean, you're completely immersed in your mind's imagination when it comes to it. I wonder how you put this all together with the interviews and the research that you did.
So I don't have to tell you this, but radio, other than television, relies almost fully on sound. So I went back to the news reports of 1997. In fact, I'm telling the story by using news clips from 1997, a girl stolen, and then 2015 reunited with her biological parents. 2016 the court case starts, and then I also mentioned the Showmax documentary that was I think it was done in 2023 2022.
Quite recently,
Yeah,
yes.
and then there was also the book Zephany, Two Mothers, One Daughter, written by Joanne Jowell. So that was in 2019.
Yeah.
So I'm basically telling the story through those those markers.
Yes.
And then I get to be going to Lavender Hill a few Mondays ago to try and at least speak to Lavona Solomon.
Yeah.
Her parole conditions does not allow her to do media interviews, but I was able to speak to a neighbor who's known her for many, many years.
Right.
So I'm speaking to the neighbor, I'm speaking to Misha Zephany, also to a news reporter who covered the story from the beginning, and someone from the parole board. So I think people are going to like it. Those who understand Afrikaans.
Yes, even if you don't, I would recommend that you find someone.
Because it's beautifully put together. I have to say it myself, and I have to acknowledge the assistance that I got from the technical producer, Dytrand Godfrey, one of the best. I worked with him at SABC Radio when I was presenting on RSG. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being here, Hein. This is such an incredibly important story to tell. And yes, it is in Afrikaans, but I think it will reach so many audiences beyond that. RSG, 8 o'clock. It is a date for you to, of course, learn more about this documentary, audio documentary at that, put together by the hands of Hein. Really important and interesting story in the South African field and beyond.